Weekend was good. I was like very tired of it, but yeah, it was very good. I was nervous for that fight. I thought because the way George fought Driscoll wasn't the game plan we had. He just did what he usually does and it works. And I kind of started to maybe think, maybe he's just got this really good game that he defaults to. And like, even though he's very varied in the gym, I was starting to think, what if he just defaults to that against this tricky southpaw, he's just going to get pinged with straight punches. So I was really, I was just sort of anxious for that, but he followed the game plan perfectly. Everything was programmed in great. And like, just going southpaw on the defense, taking away the guy's straight weapons, just careful shot selection. And I think it was almost like the first headshot he threw was the one that dropped him. Like, he might have thrown one or two beforehand, but the first shot to the head that he really committed to landed really clean because of the other work he'd done to set it up. And then I wasn't the biggest fan of the guillotine, but it was close and it was nearly in. But he did the right thing by like bailing on it at just the right time and immediately getting back on the attack. And then yeah, the finishing sequence came and we ran around like idiots to a bit of status quo. So it was all good.
Did that worry go as soon as the fight started and you saw it playing out?
The first like minute or two, like I knew George was making his reads. The guy was being very awkward and like he was sort of like scuffing George with shit, and I was a bit like. But when you're cornering, there's no place for worry. There's no time for worry. Like there was I channeled my worry and my anxiousness about it into productivity during the fight camp. Like, all right, I've got to message Thai boxers for George to spar with. I've got like southpaw Thai boxers. I've messaged James Power and got him to come through. The way I was holding the pads, the stuff, I channeled the worry into productivity. And then when you're cornering, it's that much of like, you're almost like you're that focused and stimulated that there's not a lot of place for the emotions while you're actually cornering.
Warming up beforehand, what were you focusing on with George?
In the warm-up beforehand, we normally keep our warm-ups very, very simple. Usually like 2-minute rounds with like decent rest in between of like a little bit of pad work at like not a super high pace, maybe like ramping the pace up here and there in little bits. Just sticking to stuff that we've done in fight camp, you know, like getting him to go southpaw with the guy a little bit, the right kicks, the countering, mixing the levels up. Then just in grappling stuff, back escapes, and on top, you know, just like secure, fatiguing, top pressure stuff. And then there was just some like cool moments in the warm-up. When we were in the holding area, Nathan Fletcher's song came on, the Happy Mondays. Yeah, I love them. How did I forget? But yeah, Happy Mondays came on, and we were, like George was dancing to it, and we were just vibing to it. And then Wonderwall came on, and George started singing it, and I was like, top of your lungs. And then he thought I was like telling him to breathe, so he was like, and I was like, no, just sing at the top of your lungs. Like, just fucking, just, you know, just enjoy it. Like, you're in the moment, you may as well, fucking hell. There is evidence, there is actually scientific evidence to suggest that singing can stop you, you know, like choking up in performance, like in sports performance or other things, like, you know, when someone's like choking, when they just freeze up. Singing can stop that, like, and golfers have certain like breathing techniques they do that are kind of like a rhythmic breathing that they used to,
yeah, that
helps them just get into that more of like that flow state and just do stuff that they're programmed to do. So that was a bit of my thinking by that, but it was more that it was just a cool moment.
When are you fighting next, mate?
In July. I want a title fight in July. I have no idea what Paul Hughes is doing at this point. It's a defend or vacate kind of situation. If he's there, I'll fight Paul Hughes. If not, I want the winner of. I'd say the winner of Shelley Harilla deserves it. Like those are people who deserve it. But yeah, I want the title fight in July.
Was it just over 2 weeks now? What lads from the gym are fighting on Rise and Conquer?
So the lads we've got on Rise and Conquer, we've got Sonny O'Neill, flyweight lad. He's had one fight before out of another gym, but it's his first fight out of this gym, and he's really he's adapting to our style of grappling a lot more, and he's like really benefiting. He's really improving quite quickly. Like, I literally just had to tell him certain things, and like I'd showed him bits and bobs, but he was almost like intuitively picking stuff up, which was really good. Like, that's a very promising sign. I'm looking forward to that. And obviously Leon is fighting a really tough guy from Scotland, Harry Beckham. The guy's like 5-1. His last fight was in 2019. He's that old school. He's got fucking knee to the head KOs at amateur. So it'll be a really tough, good test for Leon. But I think Leon beats him. Just get Leon a good solid last year or so as amateur, and then sky's the limit.
It's been a pretty dreamlike fucking week, to be honest, from the fight to now. So I had the fight, I went around the Arndale Centre in Manchester the day after, and I ate like a kilo of baklava, sushi, chicken gyros, chocolate Brazil nuts, coffees, everything under the sun. Just grand to the death. Had a big Palmo on Monday, completed the Resident Evil 4 remake yesterday, and one of the major things that is one of the most underrated things in the whole sport is when you come off a fight fresh and you can immediately get back in the gym, because they're some of the best sessions you ever have in your life. There's that bit of relief, you're a bit more relaxed, you're full of calories, you don't have to absolutely kill yourself, but then you don't have to keep the rounds so short and intense. You can overdo it. You can do like 25 rounds on the bag like I did this morning, but just at exactly the pace I want to go, and practice exactly the things I want to do when there's no rush, which is where you get better, because then you can be playful, you can add stuff to your game. You can't dip out of training and then come back in fight camp and think you're going to learn new things. I'm off to Morocco on Saturday.
Oh, nice.
So I don't know what the big Moroccan scran is. I'm going to have to find out. See if they do any fried chicken with cheese.
Is your next fight going to be in the UFC, do we think?
Who knows? Who knows at this point? You know, UFC are reactionary. They're not, they don't really plan. And I just want to stay active as possible. There's the rumblings of July, which would be perfect. Perfect time. Just roll in all the momentum, all the abilities, all the physical capabilities I've built from that last fight camp. Take a little bit of recovery and just rolling in. More skilled, more improved. And then make a really good UFC debut. Or defend the title again. I'm not gonna like completely put all my eggs in the UFC basket as of yet. I'm active, I'm finishing people more than any other Cage Warriors champion, more than any other European champion really at the minute. The only other European champion I can think of is in KSW, Phil DeFries, who was just taking people out again and again and again with activity. I can't really think of anyone else.
Just chatting to Harry just then, he said he was nervous before the fight. Was that something he shared with you?
Yeah, well, we didn't share it. We didn't share it overtly, but we kind of had ideas. Because a lot of my favourite tools are countering the jab, countering with the cross, countering with the calf kick, and then the body is open to that liver shot when it's an orthodox fight. When it's a southpaw fighter, those shut down. So it's kind of the question. I've never fought a southpaw in my professional career. So there was a lot of question marks around that. I can train with southpaws, but you don't know until you're in there. So that was a big question mark as well. He hadn't been finished his whole career, amateur or professional. He had a lot of finishes himself, and I thought it was going to be 5 rounds because he generally knows how to defend himself. He knows how to keep his distance. He knows how to negate exchanges and then be dangerous in his pocket, switch tempo. So it was a dangerous fight for a lot of reasons.
Were you surprised when you didn't get the guillotine? It looked like you had your elbow pretty high.
You can't be married to anything like emotionally in the fight. You can't think, I've dropped him, that's amazing. And you can't think, I've got a guillotine, this is amazing. In the moment, I wasn't having any negative or positive thought around what was happening. The only thing I remember thinking negatively is I actually panicked when I got the guillotine, because really, a perfect guillotine you can when you side and you've made the angle around. I felt both of my shoulders on the mat at that point, and that was the second where I thought, if I'm flat, he half guards me. That's his recovery. I made the moment to swap the guillotine for Borough hands at that second.
You obviously we just spoke about UFC in July and stuff, but when do you think you can be next in the cage again?
I could be in the cage pretty soon, like 2.5, 3 months, whatever you know, even less than that. I've taken more damage from the food I've been eating than the fight.
I was tighter off that weekend than you were.
Oh, I was sound
Like I was knackered.
Why were you tired?
Because I'm really heavy and I ran on the treadmill. Obviously there's emotional stress and lack of sleep and all that kind of stuff. But the main thing is, I'm heavy and I ran on a treadmill.
Reminds me of Anthony Joshua's post-fight interview after the Usyk fight.
That's me at the minute. I'm 18 stone. I've had English breakfasts and palmos. I'm heavy. It's hard work.
That would be like Liassi fucking getting up while he's like half conscious and just taking your belt off you and just parading around, chucking it out the cage.
But yeah, I've just absolutely loved getting back into training as soon as after a fight. There's a tiny bit of bruise on my forearm. There's a tiny bit of bruise on my shin. There was a little bruise on the top of my head somewhere, but that was it. So I've got back. I've done so many rounds already. I did nearly 10 rounds rolling Tuesday. Yesterday I did nearly an hour of grappling, plus all the drills, all the technique. I've done just 20 rounds of shadow boxing and bag work earlier. Nearly 11 rounds of wrestling tonight. Just rounds upon rounds upon rounds. Training more in the celebration week after a win than a lot of people do in their fucking when they think they're training hard.